Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for this latest episode of Korn Ferry Live. Once again, we're going to be tackling those topics that have the biggest impact on business leaders today. It's always a great opportunity for me to learn something new, and I think you might too. So whether you're a seasoned pro with a few miles under your belt, or you're just starting out on your journey, you're in the right place. And don't forget, this is a two-way thing. Think Woody without Buzz, Thelma without Louise, or Han Solo and no Chewbacca. That's like me without you. I need you. So if I ask you to get involved in the chat, don't leave me hanging. Get those responses in and fast. And of course, if you have any questions for our guests, put them in the chat as early as possible. Now, today's conversation is about the unexpected ways tech and AI are impacting personal development. So here's my first question for all of you out there. What skills would you want an AI assistant to help you with? You know what to do. Put your ideas in the chat and we'll try and come back to those a little later on. While you're thinking about that, let's do some intros. I'm your host, as always, Darren Bolton, Chief Creative Officer here at Korn Ferry. And today I'm joined by Lisa Neeson, General Manager for Assessment and Succession at Korn Ferry Digital, and also Brian Ackerman, Managing Partner for Assessment and Succession and Leadership and Professional Development here at Korn Ferry. Welcome to you both.
Hello, and who's Han Solo in this equation? That's
right. I was going to say you two need a double act name, but we won't get into that. Right. I don't want to offend anyone, and I'm usually very good at that, so we'll hold back on that. But it's very nice to have you both here. And before we get into the nitty gritty of the topic, I really want to ask you the same question we just asked our viewers, but I'd like to have a bit of fun with it. Let's not get too serious quite yet. So if you had an AI assistant handle one of your daily tasks, which task would you gladly hand over? And have you got a quirky name for it? What would you give that AI helper? And Brian, I'm going to stitch you up first and come to you.
That one's actually easy, I think, because I am horrible at home improvement. I can't change a light bulb without going to YouTube. So I need that assistant to, ideally do it for me, but at least be there. Screw to the lefty, loosey, righty, right?
I can hear you. I can hear on that one.
I really do, yeah.
Lisa, any thoughts on your side?
So I'm a master at keeping the house clean. Just don't open the closets. So some AI capability that would clean out my closets and keep me organized in that way. It's about just as messy as my inbox and my Outlook calendar. So if it could clean that up as well, that would be a double bonus.
Brilliant. And I'm sure these are all around the corner. So we'll soon all be saved from doing anything we can't possibly do. And there's plenty of those. So, all right. So thanks for that. So let's get down to business. So Lisa, I'm going to come to you first, if I may. Let's kick off with some sort of basic scene setting. I mean, what do we mean by AI-driven development? Just help us kind of understand what's happening with technology when it comes to learning and development.
Sure. So before I jump into AI-driven development, I think I'll highlight the importance of development to our people, right? Talent is at a premium. We need to invest, we need to develop, we need to offer that. And I'm an advocate for the underdogs, those people that are grinding it out every day, that make leadership look good and make us be successful. It is really hard to offer development to our entire workforce, and that is needed. So, especially offering individualized personal development that's relevant to me. So, Korn Ferry offers a way really to partner with AI to allow individuals to personalize their development. So, by taking an assessment that measures the skills and responsibilities relevant to my role, I can see where my strengths are, where my development areas are, and then I can get real-time actionable insights and guidance that are specific to me, specific to my role, in the context of my role. And those development areas I can work on, I can do in real time, on my own time. We can scale that, and it doesn't require individual leadership or development sessions, things that the leaders just don't have the capacity to scale.
Sure, sure.
It's cool if I can add to that. I mean, if you look at a little bit of the dichotomy that's out there, I love Lisa's, kind of playing for the underdog here. When you're at senior levels of an organization, everything is very high touch. It's very bespoke. We sit with leaders and try and understand the best development to maximize their impact on the organization. And yet somehow, when you do this at scale, it devolves. And you, as a learner, as an employee, you've got a very, very, very large learning catalog of tens of thousands of courses that somehow you have to make sense of. I mean, AI and Gen AI specifically is going to change that game. I mean, it's that very, very long set of learning paths and catalogs and courses is going to go the way of the dodo if our predictions are correct.
Great. Brian, can you give us a bit more detail on how these AI-powered assessment-based development assistants actually work?
Sure. I mean, and I'll contrast, maybe against development plans and then against development courses, right? So when we work with somebody to create a development plan, it's a moment in time. And if you've done this yourself, you'll spend time with a coach or your manager or a professional, and you'll have your laundry list of your aspirations and the skills you want to develop and how you want to apply them. And then two things happen. One, they age, right? I mean, it's the world goes on. You go back to your job, your situation changes, and I'm sure the folks who are watching this all keep their development plans up to date every day, all the time, but most of us don't. So the first thing AI brings to the equation is it allows you to keep coming back to your development plan in the context of what's happening right now. And then the second piece is generative AI allows you to apply those development plans to real situations that you're facing, so that the advice and counsel and your opportunity to practice is very much in the moment. And that's an exciting set of transitions.
Sounds good. Lisa, anything to add to that?
No, that's great. I mean, I love the fact that the tools we created, we have to, and we're seeing our people utilize them in that way and take advantage what is relevant today and what might be relevant 2 weeks from now in the context of my daily roles.
Yeah. I think if you look out a little farther into the future, all you have to do is look at what ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot or Midjourney or Sora are doing these days in creating content in the moment. And certainly, while that's going to be a pretty disruptive technology in and of itself, think about 6 months, 9 months, 12 months from now, where we have an ability to not just have a conversation with ChatGPT, but even generate learning content that is for that person in the moment that they need it, in the format they need it in, and in the way that they learn. So there's what's available right now that I know we'll spend the bulk of today talking about, but this area is going to be really, really interesting to watch and great for people really looking to maximize their development.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a shout out to our audience again, please get your questions in. It always happens every time. We get near the end of the half hour and suddenly we've got a load of questions to ask and we don't get round to them all. So please get them in. An empty chat is a very, very sad chat. So come on, people, please don't let me down. I mean, everything so far all sounds very exciting. But Brian, can you explain more about how AI understands and adapts to our individual work styles? How does that work?
Well, let's talk about the way Korn Ferry is attacking the policy, is a little bit at where Lisa started before. So AI, to be effective, needs as much context as you can give it. If you don't give context, and you can do this today. If you go into ChatGPT and just ask it a random question, it will give you a kind of a generic answer. And we'll see if it's a good one or one that is not so great. So AI will perform better the more context you give it. So today, if you form a prompt in generative AI correctly and you say, well, I'm walking into a difficult meeting and I'm a manager with 10 people, how do I have it? It'll give you a decent answer. But we believe that if that generative AI tool also knows you, also understands what you are, what your strengths are, helps you work around the things that you need to be self-aware of, then the answer generative AI gives you not only has the context of the situation, which frankly, ChatGPT and tools like it do a great job of, but also tailors its answer to your individual capabilities, which makes it more applicable and more actionable.
Sure. Lisa,
what would you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. I'm seeing some questions about how this is going to evolve. Again, as we're learning more about each other and how we use this tool, the tool learns more about us, right? So the work we've done, the development we've done, and how it starts to tailor our path forward. I mean, where this is going to, it's a little daunting to think that AI is going to start to know more about us than we know about ourselves, but being able to put that into the context of your role and what's required of you, how that will pave the path for your career going forward, and the capabilities and learning that you can engage in to continue to advance and understand what is needed for those advancing roles is super exciting.
Sure. Our expectations these days are that if it's not personalized, it's not good enough. It has to be personalized. We expect to even demand solutions that are tailored to our kind of specific needs. So what does real-time coaching and guidance actually look like for employees on a day-to-day basis? And what are the benefits of receiving development support in the actual moment? And actually, before our lovely guests give us those answers, let us know your thought in the chat. In what work situations would you find real-time guidance most valuable? Lisa, I'm going to come to you on that one.
So real-time coaching is great. Anytime coaching is great. Anytime development is great. Again, the more we can do, the better. So, but some of the ways this might come to life in your day-to-day activity is, I am a hiring manager and I'm going in to interview a candidate, and I have assessment results and I see where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are. I can engage in these activities and use generative AI to understand how I approach that interview, right? What interview questions I need to probe deeper. So understanding that and really understanding how to approach that scenario in the moment, I think is one of the ways we can do that. Another example might be, I know from my assessment results that I might be weak in building collaborative relationships, for example. And given some of the meetings I've had this week, I'm experiencing the pain of that. Hypothetically, of course, and hopefully none of my colleagues are listening, but I can get real-time coaching and real-time feedback specific to that, right? Without needing to wait for a meeting with my manager next week. I can get some insight through this tool that can give me some guidance and assistance on how that might look. So those are a couple of examples of how real-time coaching might look, where you don't have an actual coach, where you can lean on AI to help you in the context of your role.
I think what this begins to do Development typically, whether it's at scale or bespoke, more senior, is an event. I stop what I'm doing typically in an organization. I come out of my job and I take training, or I engage in a development program, or I have a coaching session. And that's incredibly valuable and challenging enough to do. These generative AI tools specifically are on your phone now, and they have this ability to bring context from multiple sources, your own strengths and development areas, the content of a development program, learning content, and give you these tools when you need them in ways that really hasn't been possible before. We've all talked about personalized journeys and frankly, learning in the flow of work, development in the flow of work. And most of the time that's kind of become, okay, well, go into Slack or Microsoft Teams and chat with somebody. This is a much more sophisticated way to take all of that development context and make it available to people in the way they actually develop when they need to develop. And that's an important shift in the way we think about developing at scale.
Right. I can see our wonderful audience have come alive, and I can see a question about leaders. Is that the one we're going to show? Let's see. What are the top things that cause the most apprehension in leadership teams to implement AI in the learning and development space? Who would like to take that one on? That's from George.
Yeah, I'll start, and then why don't you go ahead and jump in, Lisa? Thank you, George, for the question. This is a space that is evolving extraordinarily rapidly, and there are overarching concerns that are all around how AI derives its answer. Is it doing so based on a solid foundation of ethics and safety and lack of bias and accuracy of the answer? So what we hear from clients is a lot of questions around how to build that solid, responsible AI foundation upon which they can do a lot of things, ranging from process automation to the topic we're talking about today in learning and development. But the number one thing that we hear is, how to do that safely and well. The second question we get is, what is it going to do to jobs and the way work happens over time, and how do we get the organization ready for it?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we're all nervous about AI and the impact it's going to have on our roles. I think we're never going to replace the value of an executive coach or a career coach, that one-to-one relationship we have. I mean, but being able to embrace AI to allow us to make some of this available, more relevant to a broader population, I think is the exciting thing for us. I mean, this is going to grow. We don't know what we don't know when it comes to AI in this space and in, the rest of the world. But being able to scale this and offer meaningful development to a broader population and having that impact, I think is what we're the most excited about.
And over the last 6 months or 12 months, have we seen that apprehension or that nervousness shift at all? Or the thing I see with AI is that every week there's a new something to maybe be apprehensive about. So I'm wondering if it's kind of in pause at the moment, or actually do we feel like leaders are feeling more confident about where it's all going and how they embrace it?
At enterprise levels, we see still predominantly a lot of experimentation, an awful lot of piloting, because you're right, Darren, this technology is evolving extraordinarily quickly. Even this week, there were announcements yesterday from OpenAI about their new models that will change again the way these tools interact with us. So there's a lot of experimentation going on, and there's a lot of the more human questions coming up about, where is the right way to allow what we can do, to Lisa's point about where you get your career guidance. How do we allow that to come to the fore, enabled by efficiency and clarity and some automation coming from AI? So we do see a lot of organizations kind of pausing is the wrong word, but in that very thoughtful experimentation phase more than anything else.
Okay. It all sounds quite futuristic already, I suppose, but what are any new trends do you see coming for AI powered development, within the next, I don't know, year, 2 years, whatever and stuff? What do you see is coming soon? I mean, I don't know who wants to take a shot at that one.
Well, again, I'll start and Lisa, continue, obviously. The one that I'm most excited about is we've been chasing hyper-personalized learning journeys as professionals in this space for many, many, many years. But at some point, they all kind of devolve down to a learning path that I tweak to make relevant to the individual. A lot of cases, a lot of the technologies out there literally ask the user, what would you like to develop and how much time do you have and how do you like to get your learning? And then, tweak the content to go along with it or tweak a recommendation. This combination of what Lisa especially was talking about at the beginning about, generative AI and the knowledge of somebody's strengths in the moment, combined with over the next couple of years, the ability to create in the moment, I think we're really going to crack the code of what you need and want in the moment, what your organization needs of you in the moment, and how you learn in the moment. I don't think we've been able really to do that. And that's not Star Trek anymore. That's now, it's not tomorrow, but it's getting pretty close.
Yeah. And I suppose we were talking about, I can't remember which one, we did LinkedIn Live the other month, and we were talking about CVs and AI creating CVs, and actually, this debate about going, well, if you've got someone anyway giving you advice and almost to some degree writing your CV for you, compared to AI, which is actually taking a lot of people's experience to write it for you, kind of which is best. So from a coaching perspective, AI is almost taking many coaches to come and give you advice as opposed to one coach that may be biased and stuff. So where's the balance? I suppose, both is required in some ways, isn't it?
Good.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We're going to have to navigate and figure out that balance, right? Again, we're learning. There's still a lot to uncover here. So how do you take the value of what AI brings and not have it be overwhelming and have it, dilute the personal nature behind what you're trying to do? But again, we're figuring that out as we go. We're going to have to embrace that. And AI will eventually know more about me maybe than I can directly understand myself, how the best ways I learn, serving up those tools and some of that information that I might not understand myself so much. What is the best way for me to learn? So being able to tap into that and create experiences that allow us to grow in that way. I mean, those are some of the challenges that we have to figure out, but it's an exciting journey to be on.
As I agree with you, as we start to see the proliferation of these co-pilots and chatbots, and we're going to go from not having any to having, to choose which one I'm going to use. There is kind of a philosophy here that I think is relevant, in that, how do we use these technologies to bring all the things that only we can do back up to the fore and let generative AI help us with the rest? When was the last time you got that key moment of development or that career moment of career advice or mentoring from C3PO? And even if you could, would you take it? So I think we've got an obligation as leaders and as the experts in these professions to remind ourselves that, this isn't a replacement activity. This is an augmentation goal if we're truly going to develop and change people at scale.
Questions suddenly up on us. Thank you for calling out my concern, Lisa, about making sure we do not lose individualized experience with the adoption of AI. Okay, that's a nice. Well done, Lisa. Thank you for that. Is there we were talking about this the other day, and so just kind of a last question almost. So is there one job or task you think AI could never replace? And why do you think people are irreplaceable in that area? I mean, it's a bit of a wide one there, but any thoughts on that?
I guess I go back to that, AI doesn't have agency. AI has facsimile of emotion. AI has experience, but not experience that it has. It has access to experience, and that's not the same thing. So there are moments in our lives and our roles. AI is not going to be a parent, despite every science fiction movie that's out there right now. I know, right? They're all horror movies, by the way. But at the end of the movie, the AI kills the human. So I just want to keep that in mind. So I think there are plenty of areas, jobs, moments that remain and will remain the province of humans, and hopefully we have the time to spend there because of the efficiencies and the gains and the role that AI will play, that it can play better. To Lisa's point, sometimes better than we can ourselves.
Yeah, and I don't look at it as replacing people. I mean, how do we partner with it? And 1 + 1 = 3, right? I mean, I'm probably never going to expect AI to fix my leaky toilet, or some of those. Well, AI would do it better than you, Brian, but that doesn't. But so I mean, I think we have to be less afraid of being replaced and focus more on partnering and figuring out how that can help us be better and make us better in our roles and more efficient, and ultimately more effective.
Yeah. So as always, we've run out of time. So just want to capture any closing thoughts for our audience, something for them to think about over the weekend, and ideally something for them to action first thing Monday. Is there something really tangible they can get hold of? I don't know who wants to go first.
Just jump in, right? This technology will affect the way we work, the way we learn, the way we develop, and all of the fear that people have around it. A lot of it is reducible as you gain familiarity and practice with the tools that are out there and understand how it's evolving. So we tell this to senior clients, we tell this to everybody we can. Jump in, the water's fine, right? It's not that scary, but it is going to be transformative.
And I'll take the other side, specific to development. I mean, give a thought to the development that's happening in your organizations that you're either offering or receiving. And could that be more? Could that be reach more people? So there's the AI piece, and then there's the how can we fill in a gap that we currently can't scale in our organization. And so, challenge to think of whether this is something that would be relevant within that you would feel benefited from, that you would get value from, or just thinking broadly across your organization, how we can make that more available to more people.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time today. I'm sure that's got people thinking, and hopefully it's challenged a few perceptions as well. So I don't know, maybe you are Bonnie and Clyde. I'm trying to think of another double act or something. So anyway, thank you very much, and hope to see you again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, everybody.
And of course, as always, thank you for joining us today. And if you want more on this subject, there should be a number of links in the chat. Just before I say goodbye, for a bit of fun, I asked AI for an outro for this session, and this is what it came up with. So see what you think. Here we go. As we've seen, AI isn't just transforming how we work, it's reshaping the way we think about innovation, collaboration, and productivity. The possibilities are endless, and it's up to us to ensure we harness this technology responsibly and creatively. Whether you're excited or cautious about the future, one thing is clear: AI is here to stay and it's changing the game. So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay ahead. I thought that was quite good, actually, and probably not quite easy to replace me, so I better watch out. Anyway, that's it. Goodbye from AI, and until next time, it's farewell from me. Goodbye.